I'll go now. Thank you for being here. Normally the chair goes first, but I wanted to wait and listen to what everyone else spoke of. Now, not everyone, I still have a couple colleagues, but I feel prepared to go forward now. I think we are united. We want President Trump's initiative to make America healthy again to succeed. And you've emphasized rebuilding trust, as I did in my opening statement, and that will be essential. And I see, and obviously there's consequences for that lack of trust. People sowed distrust of the measles vaccine. There's 2 children dead in West Texas. There's a pregnant woman infected in Canada who lost her baby because she was exposed to someone who had measles. She was not vaccinated, nor the person, obviously, to whom she was exposed. I'm pro-life. The loss of that life is tragic. It's all avoidable. To his credit, Secretary Kennedy has publicly said that if you're not vaccinated, you should be vaccinated. And that's a good message to the people in my state, because many of the folks who are influenced by this distrust voted for President Trump. They love President Trump. And so having a strong, clear message coming from the White House and coming from you regarding the importance of immunization, rebuilding that trust is going to be really important. I am concerned, and the ACIP directly relates to you, of course, because the agenda will ultimately be approved by by you. And you will help decide, are we building trust or not? I will note that there are people who are critics of thimerosal who've been asked to testify, but no one speaking of the substantial evidence that in the amounts used in vaccines, thimerosal is safe. You had nothing to do with that, but I will say going forward, if the ACIP hearing today is being used to sow distrust, I would ask as you go forward that you would make sure that there really was a balanced perspective. And yes, someone can speak as a critic, but there should be someone who's reviewing the overwhelming evidence of the safety of vaccines.
Absolutely. This group, this ACIP, has a very vital role to play, and it must make sure that it is using science and evidence to drive that decision making.
And I think part of the concern is that the people on the panel, although scientifically credentialed, no one has the experience with immunizations, the kind of already knowledge to say, well, wait a second, the evidence that you're presenting, there's a lot more evidence to say it's not true. And so, again, that responsibility will fall upon you, and I trust you to help fulfill President Trump's vision of making America healthy again, which immunization is such an important part of. Let me ask something else. There is some perception, certainly from folks who make vaccines, that there is a discouragement of mRNA vaccinations and of that platform. I noticed that because Secretary Collins and you agreed, we need a Lyme disease vaccine. One of the platforms being used for that is an mRNA vaccine. You spoke in your notes of the need to address HIV. Wouldn't it be great if we had a vaccine? One of the projects being used for a vaccine is an mRNA. So if we turn our back on that platform, we're turning our back on solutions to Lyme disease, which is terribly debilitating, to HIV, which is a scourge. Any thoughts about the safety of mRNA vaccine in general?
The FDA has, in the production of the COVID-19 vaccine, had approved the mRNA vaccines as safe and had demonstrated efficacy associated with them.
So you would not be prejudiced from the get-go against such a platform, such a vaccine built upon a platform, whether it's for COVID, flu, for Lyme disease, or anything else?
That is why I have no a priori prejudice against the mRNA platform or any other approach that is being taken to develop vaccines, and that is why we have safety and efficacy standards that the FDA puts in place for any of these medical product trials to ensure that anything that is being developed, we can have the confidence that we can put it in ourselves and our children, our family members.
So then you, as the CDC director, responsible for setting the ACIP agenda, would not shrink from the recommendation of such a vaccine, would you also recommend that the 17 members be constituted with those who actually have experience with mRNA research and could know both sides of the safety discussion?
Yeah, we absolutely need highly trained scientists and medical professionals to be able to participate in the ACIP meeting. If they don't have deep technical knowledge in mRNA, they have to be able to understand complicated scientific information, and they have to have the temerity to ask questions to make sure that they have clarity of understanding of information that is being presented to them. These are critical aspects. The ACIP, as you and I agree, is such a vital part of the CDC. It's such a vital process in how we ensure that we have the understanding of benefit and risk associated with any of these vaccines.
Thank you.